Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ewan. Now, in the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing the headlines reading about illegal squatters that have been living on a farm for 8 years, and their self-proclaimed leader has even built a double-storey brick house on the farm. So on the line, we've invited the property owner, Roelof Joubert, in studio. We've also invited an independent attorney in studio to give us some advice as well, Derek Dykeman. And on the line, we've got communications manager for the Greater Tubatse Municipality, Tapiso Mokoena, in studio. Derek, let's speak to you first. We're going to wait to get Mr. Joubert on the line. Tell us a little bit about the story. I mean, you've been following it in the news. You've got no obligation on either side of the party. You are an independent attorney, just for advice on the show today.
Thank you, Liesl. Yeah, correct. My opinion is premised primarily on the reports I've received in the media as well. Excuse me. What it appears to be the situation is that the owner of the land is complaining about the structure that has been built on the land. In terms of the legal requirements, and given, again, the fact that it appears to be farmland, the obligations and the rights will flow from what is known as the Extension of Security of Tenure Act, commonly known as ESTA in South Africa. In that, the occupier of land has certain rights, but there's a recognition of the owner's rights as well. And the structure that has been put on the building, on the land would eventually have to be removed. But in order to follow that process, an application to court would have to be made.
Well, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there. We've got Mr. Joubert on the line. Let's hear his side of the story first. Goeiemôre, meneer Joubert. Jy's op Expresso.
Goeiemôre, dames.
Meneer Joubert, vertel ons jou kant van die storie.
Dan was seker 2003 en daar pakkers op die grond in beweeg. Om hulle af te kry van die grond af. Ek was onsuksesvol. Ek het die polisie genader. Ek het 'n vergadering gehad met die hoofman wat hulle die grond aan hulle verkoop het. Ek kon die mense nie afkry nie. Die polisie, die munisipaliteit, mensen van Land Affairs aangetrek om te proberen helpen. Maar tot datum is ons onsuccesvol.
Well, meneer Joubert, we've just got an independent attorney in studio. Jy het nou net meneer Joubert se kant van die storie gehoor. How long will it take him for this whole process before it goes to court, before he either wins or loses the case?
The ESTA provides another forum as opposed to going to court, and that is mediation. I'm not sure, and again, it's not apparent from the reports whether or not that process has been followed or not. Mediation will probably be a more expeditious route. And in fact, the ESTA provides that the state has to provide resources in order to appoint a mediator. In other words, it shouldn't cost Mr. Joubert any money in order to get that process going. I'm not sure if he's exhausted that route. I'm not sure if he's taken any legal advice on this matter before resorting on his independently by approaching the various state officials and the like. If he had to go to court, the ESTA provides that a period of notice must be given for the squatters to remove themselves from the land. If they don't, then a further 2 months notice must be given before the court proceedings are instituted. That notice is then given to the municipality, to the state authority, and obviously to the persons who occupy the land. Thereafter, it's in the hands of the court. There's a number of processes. You can go to the magistrates' court, you can go to the High Court, and you can go to the Lands Claims Court. If it is opposed, and it appears that there might be opposition given what I've seen in the press, if it is opposed, then obviously that could take some time. I would say a year probably to finalise the initial proceedings. But remember, you would have an appeal process, and that appeal could go all the way through to the Constitutional Court.
Well, you did mention the municipality, and we've got Mr. Mokoena from the municipality on the line. Mr. Mokoena, you've heard Mr. Joubert's side of the story, where he states that you've provided the people living illegally on the ground with municipal services. What's your side of the story?
Thanks, Liesl. What I can say is that we are aware of the situation that Mr. Joubert is in. And then what we're trying to do at the moment, we're trying to involve the land claims, because the land in question was part of the land claims, and the people who have encroached into Mr. Joubert's portion were not aware that it was a private portion. So we are trying to resolve this matter with land claims, and then we think that at the end of the day, we're going to have a favorable solution to both Mr. Joubert and the people who are on the side of the land.
And now, thank you very much, Mr. Mkwena, for joining us on the line. Derek, what would someone do? What advice do you have for someone who has illegal people staying on their land? My next big question is, what do you do with the people? We can't just put them somewhere else.
Well, the ESTA provides, if there's going to be a balance, and they try to strike a balance between the rights of the owner and the rights of the squatters, for want of a better description. Yes, you can't take the law into your own hands. That's prohibited. If Mr. Joubert took the law into his own hands by removing this particular structure, the squatter could go to court and ask for relief, and that relief could be restore the property, restore the building that was on the property, pay compensation for any damages they might have suffered, and that might be alternative accommodation. And looking at the accommodation that was provided and that has been built on this property, it could be quite expensive. So primarily, don't take the law into your own hands. Don't get a bulldozer. I've seen some comments on the blogs that you take a bulldozer or blow it up, and you have weird comments like that. Please don't take the law into your own hands. You would open yourself up to more penalties. If he had to do anything, his first step should be to go and see a lawyer. And I'm not sure. He's trying to do this thing on his own, it appears to me, from the comments. Why not see a lawyer? It'll probably be cheap in the long run to get that process going. The longer you take, if the person has been in occupation for 10 years, it's more onerous than to get rid of a squatter. The ESTA is driven primarily by consent. And consent, as defined in ESTA, provides that if the person openly and continuously occupies a piece of land continuously for a year, then you have deemed to have given consent to that individual. Now, I understand from Mr. Joubert that has been going on since 2002.
Yeah.
And it's not as if the structure just appeared miraculously overnight. It's not brick by brick. It's not as if you were standing there looking at this piece of a building being erected and saying, I wonder what's going on there. He must have seen something taking place. And I think he's got a particular problem with that, whether or not that's got a consent and tacit or implied consent. But it appears that consent was given. He has to then unilaterally, withdraw that consent, and he withdraws that consent by terminating, inverted commas, this occupation, those rights of occupation.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for joining us here this morning, for coming in early and answering our questions relating to the big news that was breaking last week and making big headlines there. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you shortly.